Hi guys, today I'll be recapping my Nightmare Landlord. I'll be focusing on Lydia and Drew's relationship. The movie begins with a rose-covered table set for two and rose petals leading up the stairs to a dead woman dressed in red in a water-filled bathtub. Lydia is an English major college student. She is staying with Kaylee, her best friend, after breaking up with her cheating and a drunk of a boyfriend. She is apartment hunting. The first apartment she checks out, she signs the lease, but her ex, Tim, shows up. The landlady is not about the drama, so Lydia loses the apartment. She goes to another apartment. There's a hot shirtless guy, Drew, painting the ceiling. Drew happens to be the apartment manager. He tells her no apartment is available. She goes outside. It's raining, so he invites her inside to wait. After seeing her desperation, Drew tells her he has a furnished apartment, but it's kind of a mess. Lydia goes to check out the apartment. She likes it, even though Drew will be doing renovations upstairs. She barely moves in with her cat, Pumpkin, before she notices a refrigerator leak. She goes to get Drew, but he's already at her door. He repairs the fridge. He shows Lydia an app that controls everything in the house, including the lights, for her to download to her phone. He turns the lights off to demonstrate, and she goes into full panic mode until the lights are back up. The next day, Drew sneaks into Lydia's apartment while she's out. He finds her diary and a book about nyctophobia, a fear of the dark. Drew sneaks into Lydia's apartment again while she's asleep. She wakes up in the dark with another panic attack. She hears someone in her apartment, so she walks down the stairs with a nail file and cuts Drew with it. Drew says he's fixing her light and he didn't know she was home. She offers him a glass of wine and they get to talking. He pretends to have similar goals as her. She dresses his wound, then invites him to stay for dinner. But he insists he cooks for her and invites her to his apartment upstairs. After dinner, he goes in for a kiss, but Lydia declines. The next day, Lydia rides the elevator, but it shuts down with her. The lights go off and she goes into another panic mode. Then Drew rescues her. She tells him she has a very severe case of nyctophobia. He finishes her sentence saying fear of the dark. Drew takes Lydia to see a Hemingway play, then a romantic date on the rooftop afterwards, Lady in the Tramp style. They sip wine. He gives her a charm bracelet with a special charm that lights up when pressed, so she will never be in the dark again, he tells her. They kiss. Then they go back to his place. They make out a lot. Almost do the deed, but Lydia wants to take it slow. Drew spies on Lydia in the bathtub from his computer and whispers he loves her. Later, he invites her to dinner at his place, but she has to work. He tracks her location to the library where she works part-time. He shows up with a container of food and they have a little secret rendezvous in the library like teenagers. Lydia turns down a movie date with Drew to study with Kaylee. Drew tracks her location again and sees her talking with TA Brad. He shows up jealous and upset, just as Brad leaves. He accuses her of flirting with Brad. Lydia tells him she needs to focus on work and school and they should just be friends. Drew goes back to his apartment, throws a fit and violently smashes a wall in the apartment. Lydia's alarm clock mysteriously didn't go off in the morning, so she's late for work and is unable to mail her financial aid application. She sees Drew at the library, apparently reading a book. He's going to the post office. How convenient. So she asked him to mail her financial aid application. Drew continues to watch Lydia in her apartment from his computer. Lydia is meeting with her TA Brad later that evening. Drew goes into Lydia's apartment, takes her phone, deletes a text from her workplace, informing her of a change in her shift, and sends Brad a message from Lydia's phone. The next day, Lydia is confused that Brad stood her up the night before. She tries to speak to Brad, but he tells her he's no longer the TA for her section. She gets fired from her job after turning up at the wrong time. Lydia's bank card is declined and her bank account is emptied after Drew goes on her computer and uses her debit card to book an Italian tour. Helen, an elderly tenant, tells Lydia Drew has been going into her apartment all the time. Lydia confronts him, but Helen is senile, so that didn't go anywhere. Drew takes a bubble bath in Lydia's bathtub. Lydia's professor accuses her of plagiarism after Drew goes on her computer and replaces her essay. The financial aid application she asked Drew to mail didn't reach on time, of course. Lydia notices footprints on her bath mat, not hers. Then her ex Tim shows up. He apologizes for everything. He gets a call, leaves, and ends up in the elevator with Drew. He threatens Drew and Drew sledgehammers him. Poor Tim. Lydia goes to Drew's room. He is in a hurry to attend to some new tenant. She thinks she hears her cat Pumpkin inside his apartment. She goes inside, discovers Drew has been spying on her after finding a surveillance video of her apartment on his computer. She turns around and bumps into Drew. He tells her everything he did is because he loves her. She confronts him and tries to escape, but he knocks her out. She wakes up tied up, mouth gagged, dressed in red, sitting across from Drew at a table set for two and covered in roses like a romantic Valentine's date. He locks her in the apartment and sends a text from her phone to her friend Kaylee. Kaylee is suspicious of the text. She knows it's not from Lydia. Lydia breaks free and discovers her ex Tim's dead body. She uses Tim's phone to call 911 and download the app to open the door. It works. She hides just outside the door, but Drew finds her and ties her up again. He puts her into a bathtub filled with water. He tells her goodbye, then he turns the lights off, with her submerged in the bathtub. Then a cop and her friend Kaylee show up. The cop looks around, finds nothing. Meanwhile, Lydia struggles with her tied hands, but finally presses the light on her charm bracelet. Kaylee sees the light, runs into the bathroom, and finds Lydia submerged in the bathtub. Drew is arrested. Lydia and Kaylee get an apartment together, and Lydia gets the internship with TA Brad's help. The end. I hope you enjoyed this movie recap. Bye guys.